Hey guys, this is Beards and Bibles. My name is Andy.
My name is Johnny.
And today we're going to talk about 5 reasons that men don't study the Bible. So, Bible study. It's one of those things that your pastor talks about how much you need to be doing it. It's one of those things that you feel guilty for not doing enough of, or not doing any at all.
Any at all.
It's one of those things that still yet, it gets neglected by most men, a lot of men, some men, at least us. So, we want to talk about 5 reasons today why men don't study the Bible. So, number 1, too busy.
We always say that we are too busy. And the reason why is because work, being a dad, important things that's going on, always having yard work, housework stuff to do, always having the honey-do list, things like that. We want to say that we are too busy because we think that we're too busy.
Exactly.
When in reality, if we was to make the Bible a priority, then everything else would fall in line. If you did this first, or made sure that you took time out for this first, then you would still have time for everything else. Wake up a little earlier, go to bed a little earlier. That made a big difference in my life, starting to go to bed at 11 o'clock at night instead of staying up till 1, 2 in the morning and then waking up at 8, 9. Yeah, we are not too busy to study. I was still pretty busy before I had my 3rd kid. But just because I had another kid didn't mean that, I still wasn't busy. I had to make time for what was important. He's doing great, and I love him to death.
Exactly.
Kind of off topic. But whatever's a priority in your life, you make time for.
If you've got time to sit at home and play some video games, then you've got time to study the Bible.
Watch Monday Night Raw.
If you've got time to sit and watch TV or sit there and let Netflix just run in the background while you do this right here, then you've got time to study the Bible. And honestly, guys, it's not just something that you do. We've done it a lot too. I've just been too busy here lately. Not had enough time. But honestly, if you sit down and make time for it, you will be able to get it done. And if you're wondering about how to do that, maybe make an appointment for yourself. You've got a phone that you carry around with you. If you don't, well, no, everybody's got a phone. If you don't have a phone, then you probably don't even have the ability to watch this. And so that's a moot point. But honestly, you've got a phone. It's got a calendar in it. Make an appointment. Make something in your own schedule to sit down and study the Bible.
I don't know if you can see this. Maybe we will try to zoom in. But I have a reminder on my phone for like 10 o'clock at night, just in case I forget through the day. It says, read Bible, at least part of a plan. Do it, please, from yourself. That is me begging myself to read the Bible.
Yep.
I set myself up to feel sorry for myself, so that way I would read the Bible. It's that important. You have different stages in your feelings. Sometimes you know that you should do better, and you wanting it, and that's all that you want. But then you get preoccupied with something else, and you forget how you felt there. That's why I set a reminder. And whenever I said at least do part of a plan, some of them plans, they don't take 5 minutes.
At the very most.
But yet they're broke down so well.
And if you've got an opportunity, there's one of the apps that I think Johnny and I both use is the YouVersion Bible on our phones. It includes a lot of different translations. but it also includes a ton of reading plans. And not only does it include reading plans, but it includes reading plans that you can do with other people.
Yeah.
So if you want a way to keep yourself accountable for reading the Bible, then that right there is a great tool to use. So, reason number 2 that men don't study the Bible. It's boring. Yeah, we get it. Those genealogies are just a real page turner. And, gosh... I mean, like, there are sections that, like, you're sitting there going, I don't know how I'm ever going to make it through this. And honestly, guys, I'm just going to be flat out, I'm just going to be truthful with you. If you're not getting anything out of the portion of the Bible that you're reading, read something different. I don't know if you guys know this, but one of my favorite sections to talk about in the Bible, like, I love the stories in the Bible. I love the stories of David. I love the stories of Samuel. I love the stories of Samson. I love those stories. But one of my favorite topics in the Bible is actually found in the books of law, talking about how to keep yourself cleansed. If you ever get a chance, go back and read it. I believe it's in the book of Numbers. But in the book of Numbers, they talk about what a person who has been cured of leprosy needs to do to be cleansed to where they can rejoin the tribes. And it literally says that that person is supposed to catch 2 birds. Now, one bird, you take that bird and you literally bash its head in against a rock, and then you drain all of its blood and you put it into a bowl, and then you take the other bird and you dip the bird into that bird's blood, and then you beat the leper with the bloody bird, and then you set the bird free. And
I never thought that'd be in the Bible.
It's in the Bible. It's in the Bible. And honestly, when I read that, like, I know it sounds crazy, but I sat there and I laughed the entire time because I was thinking about it from the perspective of the bird. It's like, there I am, just minding my own business. Oh God, are we flying over Israel again? Is that a leper colony? Aw, geez, here we go. And then, like, you know, you're flying there with your friend Bob, and Bob gets caught, and then you get caught, and then you watch him, like, dash Bob's head against a rock, and you're like, oh my God, it can't get any worse.
What about Bob?
No, you're going to take a bath in Bob's blood, and they're going to beat you over this dude with sores all over his body. And then you know what your reward is? Here you go, little bloody bird, just fly away. And you're traumatized, and you'll never fly over Israel again.
Boom.
Now, was that boring? No, it wasn't. Did that go the way you expected it to? Nope. So if you're reading a section of the Bible and it's boring, read something different. Because honestly, like, sometimes if I'm just having a moment where I don't want to read, I'll go back and read about David because I love reading about David. And sometimes you can reread stuff that you've read before and get something completely new out of it. I have been reading the Gospels. Just here recently, I was rereading the Gospels, and Jesus said something that I didn't catch the first time around, and I went, ha-ha, while I was reading it. Now, to my wife, I looked like I was insane, because she was sitting there next to me, and I'm reading, and I'm like, ha-ha! Yeah, that's a psychopath. That's psycho behavior, but whatever, it's fine. Listen, if you're bored with what you're reading, find something different to read. It's as simple as that. Because the Bible is not boring. Every single thing that is in the Bible is in there for a purpose. The reason that Matthew puts all those genealogies in there in his book is because they're important. People need to be able to see how Jesus tied back to Adam, how he tied back to David, how he was of royal descent. Because that was one of the things that was important to fulfill the prophecy of the Messiah.
Yeah.
So,
another thing I want to say, if you're bored of reading the Bible, like you just don't feel like you can read anymore, well, find some good authors, that's Christian authors, and then read like John Hagee has a thing on the blood moons. That's in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Whenever I'm like, well, I done read what I thought on this, I'm going to go see what he has to say about it. You know why? Because I trust John Hagee. And it was very interesting. I learned a lot because sometimes other people can break down scriptures more than your little mind can, or mine. I like I like hearing what Andy has to say about the Bible. Pastor Billy, I guess it's David Gusick.
David Gusick, yeah.
And I'll listen to sermons about what I had been studying, because just people put things together, and it's good.
It is. So reason number 3 that men don't study the Bible, they don't know where to start. Now, honestly, that's something that I've struggled with that before. Like you're just sitting there going, oh, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do? And you've got this book, and you're like, oh, well, I guess I'll just do it old school Baptist style and crack that sucker open.
That's how everybody does.
That's how everybody does. They just crack it open. Wow, I cracked it right open to the front of Proverbs. How cool is that?
Yeah,
that's cool. I'm usually like right in the middle of one of these obscure chapters of a book that I'm like, oh, I forgot that even existed, like Obadiah Bajaya or something weird like that. That's not a
Zechariah, Jeremiah.
There you go. But if you don't know where to start, honestly, my suggestion is this. Throughout the day, you have some pretty weird thoughts. Yeah. You do. You got some weird thoughts, man. They're rattling up there in that brain pan of yours, and you're not really sure what to do with them. Well, maybe just literally go and Google, what does the Bible say about whatever thing it is that you thought was pretty weird? And just kind of go from there. Literally, you can Google, what does the Bible say about? And you will find a whole set of scriptures that will take you down rabbit holes that you never even knew existed.
It's fun being down a rabbit hole when it's something to do with the Bible.
And another thing that you could do, like Johnny said earlier, find a sermon. You can go on YouTube and listen to tons of sermons. You can go into that Bible app and just find a topic that you're interested in. Mm-hmm. I mean, just because your wife is reading about the 6 best ways to love your children doesn't mean that you have to do that too. You don't have to do the same Bible study that everybody else is doing, especially if it's something that's boring to you. Mm-hmm. Just start somewhere, anywhere. It doesn't really matter where. I don't recommend just doing a Bible crack and going in that way, because number 1, context is important.
Yeah.
But number 2, you're just going to get bored, and then you're going to be back at problem number 2 again. Mm-hmm. Number 4. Go ahead, Johnny.
What'd you say? My phone rang. My phone, I got a text.
I don't know, man. What were we talking about?
I can't remember. I got a little bit
distracted.
Oh.
Listen, I get distracted. Okay.
It's on the fly.
One of the things you guys need to know about me, if you don't already know about this, I am the poster child for ADHD.
Squirrel!
Literally. Like, anything can distract me. Like,
how do you manage a store?
Very carefully.
Writing everything down.
With a lot of effort and writing a lot of things down. And medication. Anywho. Distraction happens to everybody. Literally, if you... Oh, gosh. Listen, the phone is the worst possible thing to have that will get you distracted. So, I'm going to give you my quick best tips from a person who is probably more easily distracted than anybody else on this planet.
Ooh. Squirrel!
I will give you some tips to help you fight off the distraction. Number 1. Find a place that is as close to distraction-free as you can get it. Don't be in a place where there is a project sitting right in front of you. Don't be a place where the TV is on and playing. Turn the TV off. Go somewhere quiet.
Leave your phone in another room.
I mean, listen, I'll be honest with you. I take my phone with me, but I do put my phone on silent. Try not to pick up your phone. If you can, don't pick it up. If you read the Bible off of your phone, because I do read the Bible off of my phone, or I read it off of my iPad, or I read it off of my Kindle.
Laptop. Yeah.
Just try to stick away from going into time-burning apps like Facebook.
All the socials.
All the social medias. Really, honestly, social media and games are the 2 things that you want to avoid. There are apps that you can download that limit the amount of time or limit what you can do during certain times while you're using them. But one of the things that you can do is download Pro app, and it's Pomodoro.
Pomodoro.
What Pomodoro is it's a technique that has been around for a while that basically breaks things down into chunks so that you can focus a little bit better. So what it does is it will actually set a timer where you do nothing but focus on the thing that you need to focus on for the next 25 minutes, and then you get a 5-minute break. And honestly, that is one way that you can really keep focus is by using an app like that, limiting the amount of apps that you can go to. But another thing that I want to recommend is a set of headphones. Johnny carries headphones. I carry headphones. Johnny's got a set of Galaxy Bud Plus.
No,
those are JBLs.
I lost them, but I have JBLs.
Okay. I didn't realize you lost those.
Yeah, I did. Like two or 3 weeks ago.
Oh, that's sad.
I think the kids lost them.
Lovely.
Shouldn't have let them play with my keys.
Well, I've got a set of Apple AirPod Pros. One of the reasons that I chose these is because they go in my ear. But another thing that they can do is I can literally put these earphones in, and there is a passive mode on there where it actually lets me hear everything that's going on around outside of me. But then there's also noise cancellation mode. And I don't know how I sound right now because I can just barely hear my own voice, but I can't hear anything that you're doing right now.
Cool. I had to make some kind of noise because I wasn't doing anything.
What?
Yeah. I wasn't making any sounds. You was like anything that you're doing right now, so I'm like, oh, cool.
Oh.
So I had to make a sound.
Listen, honestly, like, they're noise canceling or not, they're a great thing to have around. Find yourself a nice playlist to put on. I recommend instrumental music, and it can be like if you go on Apple Music, they have got a playlist called like Study Beats and Deep Focus. Spotify has got some really, really great focus playlists as well. And one of my favorites right now is actually by Reach Records, who are the guys that produce for Andy Mineo and Lecrae. It's their studio, and they put out a playlist called, I think it's Work Beats is what it's called. And it's just great beats to be able to listen to while you're getting stuff done. And the less words in it, the better, because words will obviously distract you from focusing on whatever it is that you need to focus on.
And the next one... The last one, which is a doozy. And guess what? I understand that you don't understand.
We get it.
Because guess what? I'll read the Bible and I'll be like, what is he talking about? What's this about? I don't know anything about no dragons and fire out of mouths and just two-edged swords out of this, and it's complicated.
It is.
It's not supposed to be so point blank, so cut and dry, because this is what they call the living word. This word is the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. And the Holy Spirit talks to you through this, or through your Bible app, or, that is God's way of talking to you. Prayer is your way of talking to Him. With any relationship, you can't be one-sided.
Yep.
You can't just read the Bible and not pray and expect to have a good relationship with God. You can't just pray and not read the Bible and expect to have a good relationship with God. What you have to do, there is so many different ways to break down the Word now. And guess what? A lot of people call the Message Bible a commentary. It really kind of is. But guess what? When I don't understand nothing that I'm reading, I will go to that. I will reach out to some of my friends.
Yep.
If they don't know, I will Google it. I will look up commentaries. I will go on YouTube, find sermons about it. If I'm interested in something, then I will figure it out.
Yep.
And
the four easiest ways to fix being not being able to understand what you're reading. Number one, reading a different translation.
I love it. I love different translations.
I mean, a lot of people listen, guys. Especially where we are, we're kind of in the clasp of the Bible Belt. I can tell you right now that the King James Bible is not the only translation out there.
No.
It is not, contrary to popular belief, it is not the language that Paul wrote in or that Jesus spoke in. All of these Bible translations are translated from Hebrew, Greek.
Even King James.
Even King James, Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, they're all translations. The words of the Bible are not even all written in the same languages. So it is okay to use different translations. If you don't understand what the King James is using, try the NLT, try the NIV, try the ESV, try the Message. Try any different translation that you can find to help you understand it a little bit better.
And I'll tell you one cool thing. We bought my daughter a Bible. Kids' Bibles break it down so low that you're like, I have to understand it.
Yep.
And then you can, for real, I have read something out of hers, and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize that it was like that. Because, of course, all these thous and whilsts and this and that, of course, you can get confused. Mm-hmm. So whenever it's broke down like it would be for a child, then you go back and read it, and you're like, oh, that's what it means.
Another great way to help you from being confused about when you read the Bible, find commentaries. As we mentioned earlier, David Guzik, he has a website, EnduringWord.com. He has commentaries on pretty much everything that's ever been written in the Bible, and he will help you understand what is being said. But I mean, that's not the only Bible commentary that's out there. It's just one of our favorites. I mean, if you can go to Bible Hub.
Mm-hmm.
Bible Hub is a great website
awesome.
Because it has different translations. It has commentaries. It even has the Greek and Hebrew lexicons that can help you break down what those words mean. Just the base root of those words. If you don't understand it, there's always a way to be able to find a way to understand it. If finding a commentary or a translation isn't doing it for you, go on there and Google it. Google it and see if you can find out what that means. And if that doesn't work, there's this guy, he's at your church, he's called your pastor. And part of his job is helping people understand the Bible. Listen, guys, there are a ton of reasons that men find not to study their Bible. And not a single one of them is a valid one.
Exactly.
To be honest with you, not a single one is a valid one. If you're feeling guilty right now, don't feel bad. Don't feel alone, because honestly, I feel guilty. I never study the Bible as much as I should. And
yeah, I mean,
just use it to make yourself a better man. That's what this is about.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, dads, if you're feeling, insecure about being a father, husbands, if you're feeling not good enough, whatever. If you're looking for any type of answer, it's in here.
It's in that book.
And, say that your friend, you and your friend are into it, and you need an answer. Google it.
Yep.
Google where to look at in the Bible. You can find it. Go to some sermon. Husbands, you and your wife stay into it. Answers are in here, buddy.
They're there.
But, you know what?
I think that's all we got for this one.
I've had fun. And yeah, we can use excuses all we want to. But when it comes down to it, if we're not doing it, it must not be a priority.
Exactly.
So make God a priority. Make listening to His Word a priority. And make praying, talking to Him a priority. And that's all we have today. So I'm Johnny with Beards and Bibles.
I'm Andy with Beards and Bibles. Until next time,
stay beardy.